Spider's back! Gonna go right into it. It's Remembrance Day. Is my poppy gonna stay? For my dad, who's been passed away now over 15 years or more. It's hard to keep count of after decades, a decade and a half, whatever. But he was in the Devil's Brigade and he got the Bronze Star. He was a real hero in World War II, and the Gold Star, and they raised a flag for him at the White House, actually, at a call from the Prime Minister of Canada, and they did a big thing on him at CTV News. Steve Murphy went down my hometown, and they did a 5-minute whole thing on my dad, you know, on CTV News, local Halifax news. So when he was alive, so he was pretty proud of that. And getting the Bronze Star, and then before he died, he got the Gold Star. So he was very proud. So, but I'm honoring all the veterans, not just my father, because there was a lot of heroes as well. There's very few left in the Devil's Brigade. They did a movie on them. They were famous as the Black Devils, they go, but there's very few left. I don't even think there's 10 left. And there was very few Canadians. I mean, my dad had to audition to get into the Devil's Brigade because it's mostly made up Americans, but you had to be very gallant, brave soldier, and my father was the #1 machine gunist, okay, front line. So anyway, I don't know how I'm here today, you know, really. My dad made it. He was on the battlefield with a piece of a bomb or shrapnel in his side. He laid, and the troops that came, they were all dead around him, and he was just hanging on to his life, and they weren't Germans, and that's how I'm here today. It's crazy. Anyway, that's the news today, Remembrance Day, and I'm doing the 7th Remembrance Day, and there's some other interesting news, Canadian news, that just came out that's pretty wild. Listen to this, that I'm very excited about. It's going to be a historical event.
And an iconic Winnipeg band featuring 2 rock legends is returning for a big performance. And I think you can guess who they are. Oh yeah, we went there. Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman will embark on a 2026 tour under the Guess Who name for the first time in 23 years. The tour includes 10 dates and begins in Moncton, New Brunswick on May 26th. The Winnipeg concert at Canada Life Centre takes place on June 5th. Last year, Cummings and Bachman received the rights to the Guess Who trademark after settling a lawsuit with former band members Jim Cale and Gary Peterson. The lawsuit alleged Cale and Peterson formed a cover band to perform and release albums under the Guess Who name, while misleading fans into thinking Bachman and Cummings were still involved in the act.
Anyway, that's amazing. They got a great logo on Burton's, a great logo, and tickets go on sale today, actually, because their second concert in their tour is in Halifax, May 27th. They started in Moncton because they've got that brand new, beautiful arena, pretty big arena in Moncton. So, but they go and they're hitting all the big cities right across Canada, and playing in big venues too. So the VIP tickets today are quite expensive because they include like signatures, autograph albums, and everything. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's going to be an event. And Burton at 78 years old, you know something? I heard him in December last year, on the 20th of December. I traveled to see them, and let me tell you something, because they're my all-time favorite band, the Guess Who, and I followed Burton Cummings in his solo career as well. But anyway, I couldn't believe how well he sang at 78 years old. There's not anybody on this planet that can sing like him still at 78 years old. And Bachman, yeah, he's using his stool now, apparently. When he did his BTO tour, Burton's still finishing up his solo tour. He played unbelievable. I went to see them at BTO, like, you know, he had his son playing with him at the Metro Center. Bachman's still amazing on guitar. He sits down, there's still, you get up for taking care of business, but because of his age, he's 3 years older than Burton. But he'll be fine. He'll be fine. 2 or 3 years older than Burton Cummings, but I mean, they're legends, and they're the greatest Canadian band in my eyes ever. I mean, they paved the way. They did it first. They paved the way for all the other bands that came after them. You know, like Rush and Neil Young and Bryan Adams, all of them, Alanis Morissette, all of them that came after. They paved the way. And in 69, 70, in the American Woman book, and this is an accurate statistic, they literally outsold. They knocked the Jackson 5 and the Beatles off #1, the letter B. It was American Woman was #1 in Billboard and worldwide record charts and Cashbox around the world for 3 weeks. And No Sugar Tonight, this third week, was their #1 with American Woman. And their album and single was #1. Their album was huge all around the world, and they outsold in 69, 70. They had the highest record sales in the world. The Guess Who? Yes, from Canada, Winnipeg, Manitoba. They outsold the Beatles, the Doors, the Stones, and Cretans. Okay, they have the biggest band on planet Earth. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that want to see this because it'll be the last time they ever play like a farewell tour. It's called Taking It Back. That means taking the name back that they deserve to have. The Burt never should have gave away to Jim Cale because he owned the name. Anyway, so it was settled in court and they won, and now they're back under the umbrella of the Guess Who, and it's going to be a fabulous historic event, concert, and I can't wait. General ticket sales go on Friday in Halifax. The VPI packages are on today. They're quite expensive, but they get a lot of stuff with it apparently. That's nostalgia stuff. Anyway, let's get into my session. And I want to correct some of the things I said. I made some mistakes. I meant to say semi-final, Eastern and Western, and I said final. That's easy to do. And there's a few other mistakes I made. When I was addressing the outdoor arena football length field that the CFL is going to in 2027, I said sometimes field goal or football. I meant to say field size. Anyway, I don't know if I made any other errors. If I did, I apologize, or mistakes. It's no retakes. It's totally live. So if I apologize for that. And please, Brad McDonald, Eric McLeod used to always make comments and even post my parts of my videos. Brad McDonald used to. So let's get, let's really. I'd love to hear it. I mean, please subscribe more. I never ever ask people to subscribe, but Brad and Eric come back, make some comments, and everybody makes some comments, okay? I haven't been reading them many lately because I haven't received many. I don't know why, but I want you to make comments. I'll read them. I will. And because that means a lot to me. And I want to keep this going, and I'm sorry I was away for a month, but I had some issues I had to deal with in my life, so okay, and here I am, and alive and kicking, Spiders back. Okay, so anyway, let's get into it. Gary Peterson won't be playing though because he's too old. The drummer, my favorite drummer ever for the Guess Who. They'll have to have a fill, but they may get Wallace McDougall, I hope, because they didn't have a law suit against them. So hopefully they'll get them. That'll be interesting. I mean, even Bachman's son may be involved. I don't know, but I know one thing, they're going to be fantastic live. I'm telling you that. Even at their ages, they're fantastic live. And they still will be. I'm not kidding. And every song will be an event. I'll bet you they'll get numerous standing ovations. I hope they open up with a great big Canadian flag with shaking all over. That's what I hope. Everybody would get up and sing every lyric. I'm telling you, they'd get a standing ovation their first song. They're going to get a lot of standing ovations. Let me tell you, it's going to be electric. I can't wait. Anyway, bring it on, the Guess Who. Okay, the greatest Canadian band, rock and roll band ever, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway. So let's get into this session. So what we're going to do is talk a little bit about what happened in the Western and Eastern final. And I mean, come on, the owner of the Doman, the owner of the BC Lions, posted is all over social media and CFL chatter and so forth, and a picture come on now. You know, they marched down in a minute 3. Saskatchewan Roughriders, I'm talking about the Western final, okay, right now. Saskatchewan Roughriders with a minute 3, and they kicked the field goal, and they were down 4, and they didn't go for it, and they didn't go for it also twice, and on third down, and kicked the ball in the last 2.5 minutes. I couldn't believe that's because of the stop time and so forth, and their timeout they had, or I don't know if they have 2 or 1 left, but anyway, so they managed to drive down the field. I mean, BC played it soft. They didn't blitz. They didn't do anything. I mean, they just let them go right down the field from their own 25, I believe, and score a touchdown on their first down inside the 5, whatever. And it looked like he trapped it on the ground, or it did touch the ground. But of course, CTV and TSN, I thought the fix was in for sure. I mean, they made it look good because they took a lot of time to look at it, but they didn't show us any angles that you could actually see if it touched the ground or not. But there was one shot that looked like it did, and I believe it did. I really believe. And people say, oh, they'd rather have Nathan Rourke against Davis Alexander because 2 young quarterbacks up and coming, and no Canadian quarterback since Russ Jackson been in the Grey Cup like Nathan. Oh, by the way, that's a mistake. I want to say I was calling him York at times, and it's Rourke. That's hard with an R. Anyway, so Nathan Rourke, you know, they wanted, people thought they wanted him in with Alexander, the young quarterbacks, you know, 26, 27 years old, and you know, since Russ Jackson won the Grey Cup as a Canadian quarterback with the Ottawa Roughriders. They wanted that. No, they didn't want that. They want Saskatchewan Roughriders. Because Saskatchewan Roughriders, the fans will travel, Winnipeg's close, and they'll spend more money. And Winnipeg Blue Bombers sell their tickets, okay? The season ticket holders that thought the Bombers are going to be in it, the Riders are going to buy them all in droves, in thousands. I'm not kidding you. But I don't know if all Winnipeg fans are going to, season ticket holders, are going to give up the tickets because they're going to want to boo Saskatchewan Roughriders right off the field. Well, let me tell you, because they can't stand them. They literally hate them. I'm not kidding you. It's that they fight in the stands, for God's sake, the Labor Day games, and they clash. So I don't know. It's maybe harder to get a ticket than you think, the Saskatchewan Roughrider fans that want to travel, but they've spent a lot of money, and I guarantee you the CFL wanted Saskatchewan Roughriders in because it's more lucrative. They spend way more money. And any tickets that are up for resale, the Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans, that season tickets that were hoping the Bombers were going to be in it, they'd be grabbing them like hotcakes, you know. So it's completely sold anyway. But anyway, it's going to be a great game. I think it is. But Davis Alexander, got tweaked his hamstring again, but he played on it. But he was in pain. So how long is he going to last? But I'll tell you one thing. Be honest with you, I'd rather have Bethel Thompson as a backup quarterback than Jake Muir. because I'll tell you, Montreal down that Johnson and Oakley, they threw him out because of something he did bad, okay? You know, what they do online. I don't know what it was. I don't want to talk about it, but it was bad. They exited him, right? Sent him out the door. And he was on the Toronto Argonauts Grey Cup championship team, so he's a good player, but he's gone. And Johnson, the defensive back, one of their best, he's out. So they brought Quinn in. He did pretty good. But Montreal got a good defensive coach, really good, and also they have their backups are good defensive. They got some depth. Well, they showed it against Hamilton. Because, you know, they were close to sacking. They put pressure on Leon. They put pressure on Bo Levi Mitchell. But can they put pressure on Saskatchewan? I don't think Saskatchewan's O-line is any better than Hamilton's. I'll tell you the truth. Although Saskatchewan got a really good defense and they got a really good, they have really good defensive backs like Campbell and so forth. But so. I don't know what's going to, but so does Montreal have good defensive backs too. They made a big, could have been a touchdown on the 2-yard line against Hamilton in the semifinal, Eastern semifinal, and caught a big pass and intercepted it, prevented a touchdown from being scored. I think Lawler, I think he was, I don't know if it was him or not, but he was, another thing, Bo Mitchell relies too much on Lawler. And by the way, I don't know where Speaker, I checked the list. Speaker, I didn't see him get a pass. I didn't see Matt get a pass. But I checked the list. They're not injured. So I didn't understand that. The Alouettes got to pass the ball more. And same with Philpott, you know. And by the way, getting back to what I was saying last session about the Canadian ratio, okay, I'm as Canadian as it gets. I still have BlackBerry playbooks, so you know, with HMDI cords, okay, video connections to my monitors. I still use them. And my favorite band, like the Guess Who, overwhelmingly my favorite band. I mean, I have every album. I have every Burton Cummings, every Guess Who album. I have every CD by them. You know, I mean, you know, when Burton Cummings said, I'm just getting back to the Guess Who, when 1975 when they broke up, they sold over 35 million albums worldwide. Now they're up to 60 million. Because I don't know how many greatest hits CDs. I think they had 10 of them that came out around the world. They sold like crazy. And when everybody went then and bought from, like I did, from vinyl to CDs. So, and another thing, a lot of people are discovering the Guess Who in vinyl now. They're selling a lot of vinyl. I mean, they are one of the greatest rock and roll bands ever on this planet. I'm not kidding you. To me, they're my favorite. To me, they're fantastic live. You got to go see this. This is going to be an event. 2026, the Guess Who Take It Back tour. Can you imagine that? I hope I can live to see it. I'm super excited. Anyway, getting back on track. Okay, so what happened in the Western final? In that last drive, I don't think that was a catch. I don't know 100%. There's no way. Why would the owner of the BC, imagine, called him out and said it wasn't a catch? So BC Lions, Doman. So, like, I don't know. It doesn't look good. But I tell you something. Saskatchewan's going to wear white in the Grey Cup. Montreal Alouettes are going to be the home team. Where they're blue and red. And they're going to have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers fancy dressing rooms. And Saskatchewan's going to the visitors. But you know what? I want the Alouettes to win. I personally, I find the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the fans, and what they did to my rule and that rider chat form site was just unbelievable. I lost all respect for them. I mean, not for Rod Vanstone. Come on, you can't. That guy's a gentleman. And what he did for me with my CFL Red Zone rule, and he was the first to put my inside the Red Zone rule, that's what I first called it, in the leader post in an article. Imagine, he first exposed it. And you know, I have so much admiration and respect for also Mark Cohn. He was the first to really show interest in my CFL Red Zone rule. And with Glenn Johnson and Mr. McDonald, VP of Football Operations, have SPYDER he was really sold. Mark Cohn said he was really sold, and he told me by email to be persistent, keep working on it, to make it 100% foolproof and to finish it. And then Glenn Johnson got involved, and he was going to, listen to this, he protected it and got my presentation, consulted me on the phone, was really sold on, wanted to be made part of a CFL 3-down game. That's how sold he was on it. But there was too much ego, like he said, on the CFL Rules Committee. Too much ego, and it wasn't their baby. They were jealous because it wasn't theirs. And he protected it and wouldn't allow him to go to a vote. But he was going to form before they got rid of him. Randy Brosey was involved in that because he wanted to be commissioner. Mr. Johnston, he was actually at that time VP of Football Operations and VP of Officiating and head of the CFL Rules Committee. But he was going to make CFL Innovation Rules Committee that Ambrosi was supposed to make too, but he didn't, and present my rule, but it never happened. And I found him very disingenuous. I didn't trust him. I hope he was genuine at revisiting it, but I'm not sure. He was, because it was never presented. Like, I mean, it was through Greg Johnson, though, with the CFL Rules Committee, but it didn't go to a vote. And he explained why he protected it. But his CFL Innovation Rules Committee that he was forming had members on him, and I can't give you names, like there were GMs, there were CEOs, and so forth, and I think an owner, or two owners, they were going to vote for it to make it part of a CFL 3-down game. football. Do you hear that, Commissioner Johnston? And by the way, to update you, so that's how close it came to be made part of a CFL three-down game of football. If Mr. Johnston wouldn't have got Randy Brosem hadn't fire him, it would have been made part of a CFL three-down game of football if Ambrosi would have been hired as commissioner too. And because he would have formed that CFL Rules Committee, and he had already, the people he was putting on, they're already sold on my rule, and they were going to approve it and adopt it. And it would be now part of a CFL three-down game of football, and be the biggest rule that the CFL ever adopted, okay? Ever adopted in the history of the CFL and probably of all professional football. That's how big it would have been, and how big it could be if they would wisely adopt it right now. Now, what I did, this is a big updated news here. For almost like 4 or 5 days, I worked on setting, okay, the new Commissioner Johnston, who I sent my presentation to, you know, like 2 months after he was hired in May or so, May of 2026, and my summary as well, the whole gamut, the whole thing, on my CFL Red Zone rule. And so he didn't, I said, you didn't even acknowledge it, and I said, that's insulting, because I said, I just sent it to him yesterday, and I said, that's insulting, and not only to me and my rule, but to Fire and Logi, to, these are prominent Canadian legends and icon sports figures, because Rob Vanstone is, and Steve Armitage is, and they all endorse my CFL Red Zone rule, and Fire and Logi is a respected, well-liked, popular TSN reporter and TSN/CFL broadcaster. They all endorse my rule. So, like I said to him, basically, you know, you didn't contact me, and you know, you need to focus on the key elements of my CFL Red Zone presentation. I said in my letter, I said you need to focus on the compelling 10 super key features and benefits, and the stunning numbers and data, like Steve Armitage just said. I mean, that's all you got to do, and it sells itself. And the 18% guarantee of 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone with my CFL enforcement role, CFL Red Zone rule, enforcement role, and of course all the justifiable advantages to prove why it should be adopted by the CFL. Okay, it's all there. All he has to do is focus on those. That's totally outlined in detail in my presentation. Focus on those 3 categories, and also not only from the entertainment value side of my CFL Red Zone rule, but from the business side as well, how lucrative it could be. All he's got to do. But the problem is they're pompous, like Mr. Johnston. There's so much ego. That's what he said. There's so much ego. They're pompous. They're jealous of my rule because they can come up with it, and it just destroys and eats his hash mark rule, Randy Ambrosi, for lunch. Okay, they don't even talk about that rule because university football teams, okay, and they don't even use that narrow hash mark rule. They didn't change it. It's a joke. It causes more 2 and outs. And by the way, the St. Mary's Huskies. Listen to this. The St. Mary's Huskies won the Lonely Bowl against St. X. They're ranked 6th in Canada. They should be ranked higher because Laval is the #1 ranked, and Western #2. I mean, Laurier #1, Western #2, and Laval I think was 4. Queens are in the Mitchell Bowl against the Saskatchewan Saskatoon Huskies, and the St. Mary's Huskies are playing Montreal, who beat Laval, in the UTIC Bowl, and it's at St. Mary's, and you don't even have any stands there. They have a few benches. It's going to be brutal. I mean, I was too when Chris Flynn won the Atlantic Bowl at the time, beat Western. I was there. There was 10,000 with my son at 8 years old. 10,000 people at St. Mary's. They had an old stadium, but still, like, everybody's going to have to stand, I guess. I'm going. I'm going to go as an alumni because of what my son did. He was track athlete of the year at St. Mary's, and I'm going to be up there having a beer and watching it, so I'm going to be okay. But it's a big deal, and I'm going. It's at 1 o'clock on Saturday. I'm going, and then I'm going to, you know, enjoy the Grey Cup game on Sunday. I start right from the beginning. It starts at 3 o'clock all the way through. It starts at 7 Atlantic time. But I'm for the Montreal Alouettes. I'm not a Saskatchewan Roughrider fan. I I really, I think, you know, they have a good chance of winning because they got a solid team, offensively, defensively, special teams got, and it's not something, I mean, this will be the last year you're going to see our rules. They're going to be changed next year. 35-second clock. You'd never see the finishes. Saskatchewan would have won that game. BC would have won it with a 35-second clock. And a 3-minute warning. They're going to ruin everything. I don't mind the players on either side of the field. That's okay. Or taking that single point. Yeah, I like that change. You know, you shouldn't get a single point. You miss a field goal with the Rouge. So I like that. But boy, in 2027, where they're going to, you know, think about that. They're going to make our field NFL outdoor arena size length field of 100 yards. You're going to, the big plays are going to be gone. Like, you're going to see more running. You're going to see more field goals, more kicking. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be like an NFL game, like an NFL 3-down game. That's what it'll be like. It's going to be terrible. And 15-yard end zones, because you're not going to see that big, you know, corner road pass in the end zone with a 20-yard end zone for an exciting touchdown. They're going to ruin our game. They're going to ruin it. And I'm pissed off. Just like Nathan Rourke said, he's pissed off. I'm more than pissed off. Okay, listen, CFL and Commissioner Johnston, if you want respect from me, you have to dive into my CFL Red Zone Rule presentation and focus on what I explained. The 3 categories. Focus on, and like Steve Harmon said, it sells itself. And you need to contact me. And if you don't, I'm going to make a blitz like you're not going to believe and promote my CFL Red Zone Rule. Not going to. I'm actually trying to think of how I'm going to do it big this time to expose it, to get it out there nationally across Canada. And I'm going. You know what's going to happen then? Then the fans will decide. Then I'm going to get my goal is to have thousands of people at the CFL game. It wouldn't be great at a Grey Cup game in the red zone. Okay, when another 2 down football stop happens, resulting in another easy chip-top field goal, chanting loud in the red zone. We want SPYDER CFL Red Zone Rule. We want SPYDER CFL Red Zone Rule. Then it'll be a